Jezero crater on Thursday. Satellites have since been flying over the $2.7 billion vehicle to pull off data to relay back to Earth. Among all this information should be further views from the rover of its surrounding and some pictures it took during the descent to the surface. Perseverance is sitting almost bang in the middle of its targeted landing zone, about 2 kilometers to the southeast of what remains of an ancient river delta that formed at the edge of a lake. Engineers were delighted to see that hazard avoidance systems had steered the rover away from tricky terrain in the last moments before wheels down. Surface must also now be exchanged for a software system that enables the robot to drive across the surface. But it's going to be the pictures that will entrail the public. We go on a short break. When we get back, we'll move straight into sports, money markets, and weather. Stay glued to Millennium Kwacha.
I'm here at my shop. HB1. I'm advertising my business.
Vitu vyote vikali viko hapa, vinapatikana hapa. Kiba Fashion. Ukija Komesa ulizia Kiba Fashion unampata Komesa.
Bintu batu muno nbochi pamaningi. Mosayope atia just because Komesa even the shop itself is not all that whereby somebody can be scared. No, bintu vya affordable muno. Mwima dresses, mwima sketi, paima minimo, paima longu, palima dresses, paima jumpsuits, paima babies the other side.
We are found in Komesa Market, opposite Komesa Police Post. This is Kiba Fashions wear. Come through, come on.
You are watching Millennium TV. We mean business.
Chikumbuso started way back in 2005. It started with 7 widows. With those 7 widows, they had those children in their homes. The families never liked them because they are HIV and AIDS, you know. So now because they are back in life again now, so they have mended their homes.
We've got a laboratory. They take samples of the materials, test them. If they are good enough, then we can have them decanted at our site. The processes that happen here is we produce porcelain towels. Like I said earlier, these are wall and floor towels.
On why we value some of these handcraft makers and why we value others more than maybe more established ones. It's because they're actually getting that chance to elevate them.
As time went on, we got more established. We proved ourselves to the makers and vendors. A lot of these guys started coming out of the woodwork, and I think now that we have established ourselves in the market.
It's a Saturday edition of Millennium Kwacha, your first and only business breakfast show with me, Paul Shingongo. So much lined up for you today on a Saturday. It's an entertainment Saturday. We have a guest artist coming through. Don't forget, also tomorrow is International Mother Tongue Day. How well do you know your mother tongue? Do you speak Lozi? Do you speak Bemba or Chewa? Want to hear from you. In fact, today, send your messages using your mother tongue. Remember, we're coming to you live on Facebook, Millennium TV Zambia. Drop us a comment. You can also call us on 0975-740518. But for now, let's move straight into the sports updates. Second placed Zanaco have a chance to reclaim top sport in the first Super Division as they visit Ndeni Ndola today in the afternoon. Zanaco and Ndeni are meeting in the first match of the second round at Ndeni Sports Complex. The Bankers have 29 points, 2 behind leaders Zesco United after 17 matches played. Zesco displaced Zanaco from the top of the table after edging Power Dynamos in the midweek rescheduled match at home in Ndola. 14th placed Ndeni want to avoid dropping into the bottom 4 when tackling Zanaco. Ndeni sit on 18 points, together with 15th placed Napsa with only a goal difference separating the two teams. Zanaco beat Ndeni 2-0 in the first round fixture played in Lusaka last October. Now in international sports, Patrick Bamford felt Leeds were robbed of a point after the striker had an equalizing goal ruled out on Friday's 1-0 defeat at Wolverhampton Wanderers. The host took the lead just after the hour when Adama Traore hit a thunderous effort from distance against the crossbar, but the ball rebounded off the back of Ilan Mesler's head into the Leeds goal. Bamford thought he had snatched an equalizer late on as he powered through an on goal before finishing brilliantly, but he was flagged offside, with the video assistant referee agreeing it was a correct decision. Bamford had a goal chalked off by VAR in the 4-1 defeat against Crystal Palace in November, having been ruled offside after raising his arm to point where he wanted a pass playing, and the 27-year-old was once again aggrieved by a decision made by technology. Now, Daniel has another opportunity to land a first Grand Slam title after beating Stenafos to reach the Australian Open final. The in-form Russian won 6-4, 6-2, and 7-5 against Greek 5th seed, securing his 20th victory in a row. 4th seed 25 will contest his second major final when he meets Novak Djokovic on Sunday after losing in the 2019 US Open final. Medvedev aims again to become Russia's first male major champion since the year 2005. On his way stands top seed Djokovic, who is bidding for a record-extending 9th men's title at Melbourne Park. Medvedev has won 3 of their past 4 meetings, but facing the 33-year-old Serb in Australian Open final, which has 100% winning record, should be a different proposition. That's it for sports news. We move straight into the money markets for today, Saturday, 20th of February 2021. We begin with the Zambian Kwacha was trading at 21.62 against the US dollar, 30.35 against the British pound, 26.25 against the euro, and 1.47 against the African rand as of Friday, February 19th. The South African rand traded slightly lower at 14.7 against the greenback on Friday amidst caution as investors' focus shifted to the budget speech scheduled for next week. South Africa Finance Minister Tito Mboweni would deliver the country's 2021 budget on Wednesday, with the country facing ever-increasing fiscal pressures in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, the British pound crossed the 1.40 level for the first time since April 2018 amid hopes that the UK would ease lockdowns sooner than expected due to the fast deployment of COVID-19 vaccines. The euro bounced back above the 1.21 mark, moving closer to Tuesday's 3-week high of 1.217. The ECB policy meeting minutes showed that officials agreed that headline inflation was at a very low level and it continued to be a distance from the central bank's target, while a further appreciation of the euro posed risk to the inflation outlook. And finally, we move straight into the weather for today, Saturday. Begin with the capital city. Lusaka will experience a thick cloud cover and humid with thunderstorms. Temperature currently stands at 23 degrees Celsius and expected to climb to 25 degrees in the afternoon and drop to 21 degrees Celsius in the evening. Ndola will be humid with considerable cloudiness, widely separated afternoon thunderstorms. Temperature currently stands at 25 degrees Celsius, but expected to climb to 26 in the afternoon and drop to 20 degrees Celsius in the evening. In the east, Chipata will experience widely separated thunderstorms, overcast in the morning, then clouds and sunshine in the afternoon. Temperature currently stands at 28 degrees Celsius, but expected to maintain the same temperature in the afternoon, but drop to 21 in the evening. Finally, the tourist capital, Livingstone, will experience periods of rain and thunderstorms in the morning. You do yourself a favor by carrying an umbrella if you are in Livingstone. Temperature currently stands at 25 degrees Celsius, but expected to climb to 28 in the afternoon, but drop to 20 degrees Celsius in the evening. That's it for the news updates at 8. Don't forget you're watching Millennium Kwacha, your first and only business breakfast show streaming live from our studios in Long Acres, Lusaka. My name is Paul Shingongo. So much to discuss today. Remember, our question we have for you today is, how well do you know your mother tongue? Tomorrow we commemorate International Mother Tongue Day. How well do you speak your local language? Send us a message in your local language to prove that you can speak in your local language. You're streaming live on Facebook, Millennium TV Zambia. You can also call us on 0975-740518. We'll go on a short break. When we get back, we'll move straight into what's happening in the newspapers. Stay glued to Millennium Kwacha.
Mafingerings tikaleta kuti kule ifike pa 500 gram or 450 gram even pa 400 flat gram mshia kule mngapeleke pa market.
When we are at school, we learn a lot of things. Let's say, for example, for the diseases which are there in the poultry. So for someone like me who has gone to school, it's easy for me to know if at all there are any diseases in the poultry.
Mwashuken mkwai, mwakabwanji, litumezi is what? Thank you. Tomorrow is International Mother Tongue Day. Want to find out how well you can speak your mother tongue. So send us a message today in your mother tongue. We want to see those that have lived and born and bred in Lusaka, those that only know the Lusaka Nyanja. So today we are testing whether you know your mother tongue. Send us a message in your mother tongue, in Sirozi, in Chewa, in Tumbuka, in Bemba, in Swahili, if you're from there. So that's what we're discussing this morning. It's promoting linguistic diversity. Tomorrow we commemorate International Mother Tongue Day. You're also calling us on 0975-740518. We're streaming live on Facebook as well, Millennium TV Zambia, as well as YouTube. Just search there. Now we move straight into what's happening in the newspapers. We begin with Daily Nation. Interesting stories in the Daily Nation today. You do yourself justice by getting a copy. Now on the front page, Hatembo's hiding in the bush. Angel appeals for Hatembo family as police remain mute. Probe accommodation fees, Lungu directs university managements. And pension reforms needed to ensure speedy payments. Ali Kinkata Bridge not safe, maintains EIZ. MMD clash looms as Nakachinda insists convention is illegal. Stay out of politics, teachers advised. And the sports page of the Daily Nation, winner tips NAPSA to win. Interesting, winner tips NAPSA to win. Osaka Brady in Melbourne showdown. Zanaco face Indeni Hado in chess for Super Division title. Pirates aim to avoid consecutive defeat. Let's get straight into some of the stories in the Daily Nation today, Saturday, 20th of February 2021. Now, yesterday we saw the head of state, President Edgar Lungu, visiting the University of Zambia. Probe accommodation fees, Lungu directs university management. President Edgar Lungu has directed the University of Zambia management to investigate whether all the money that students pay as accommodation fee reaches its accounts. President Lungu made the directive yesterday when he commissioned the Teaching and Learning Complex at Unza. Mr. Longo said he has been prompted to make the call because of the disturbing reports he has received that genuine students, such as first years, were grappling with accommodation, while some former students still occupy rooms at the institution. Interesting story there. Now, good news for Zambians. 4th mobile service license granted. Beeline Telecom joins market. The Zambia Information and Communications Technology Authority, ZICTA, has awarded Beeline Telecoms Limited a license to operate as the 4th mobile service provider in the country. Beeline Telecoms Limited, which is wholly Zambian-owned company, is expected to start operations within 6 months. ZICTA resolved to award the license to Beeline after a thorough evaluation, says ZICTA Director General Patrick Mitmushi, hoping this will stiff up competition for the service providers. Do yourself a favor by getting a copy of the Daily Nation today. Let's move straight into the Times of Zambia. At the front page, copper in 9-year high price. Student landlord slammed. Lungu says it's criminal that some graduates and students are making money renting out bed space. Beeline becomes 4th mobile service license holder. Airtel sued in SIM card fraud claim. At the sports page of the Times, practice what you preach. Munaile says current FAZ executive has failed to uphold transparency and integrity. Die Elite 2 winner tips Napsa Stars. Amens coming in Super Division 2nd round, and Pule's executive wants unified football family. Interesting stories in the Times of Zambia. Do yourself a favor by getting a copy. Let's straight move into the Daily Mail. At the front page of the Daily Mail, Katanga warns politicians any politician feigning violence will be dealt with. New mine adds 50,000 tons and 3,000 jobs. Some good news there. Magufuli calls for fasting over COVID-19. Yes, let's fast. Let's go on 21 days prayer and fasting for COVID. Bustling Beeline is 4th mobile service provider. Nakachinda wants boards training. Okay, at the sports page of the Daily Mail, they should resign. Munaile says FAZ executive general secretary can't be trusted. Let me move straight into this story, the sports page now. Football Association of Zambia aspiring presidential candidate Emmanuel Munaile has called for the resignation of the Andrew Kamanga-led executive and general secretary Adrian Kashal on moral grounds for lying to the nation. The former FAZ vice president said in an interview yesterday that such insincere individuals cannot be trusted to run the country's football affairs. So much happening at Football House. We just hope the impasse will finally come to an end. So much has been happening at the executive at the Football House and affecting the football world, the football fans. Zambians love football, and let's focus on the matches. We want to win. We want the cup to come back home. This politics should not be there. You're watching Millennium Kwacha, your first and only business breakfast show in the country with me, Paul Shingongo. Don't forget, today is Saturday. We have so much lined up for you. We're promoting linguistic diversity. How well do you know your mother tongue? Tomorrow, we commemorate International Mother Language. We want to find out whether you can speak your mother tongue. So today, all the messages, please send them using your mother tongue. You type in Bemba, type in Nyanja, type in Silozi, type in Tumbuka. We're streaming live on Facebook, Millennium TV Zambia. You can drop us a comment. You can also call us on 0975-740518. It's also a Saturday where we feature a special guest artist coming up. You do yourself justice by staying glued to Millennium Kwacha. We'll go on a short break. I'll be right back shortly.
I'm here at my shop. HB1. I'm advertising my business.
Vitu vyote vikali viko hapa, vinapatikana hapa. Kiba Fashion. Ukija Komesa ulizia Kiba Fashion unampata Komesa.
Bintu batu munon bochi pamaningi. Mosayope ati just because Komesa even the shop itself is not all that whereby somebody can be scared. No, bintu vya affordable muno. Mwima dresses, mwima sketi, paima minimo, paima longu, palima dresses, paima jumpsuit, paima babies, the other side.
We are found in Komesa Market, opposite Komesa Police Post. This is Kiba Fashions Wear. Come through, come on.
You are watching Millennium TV. We mean business.
Chikumbuso started way back in 2005. It started with 7 widows. With those 7 widows, they had those children in their homes. The families never liked them because they are HIV and AIDS, you know. So now because they are back in life again now, so they have mended their homes.
We've got a laboratory. They take samples of the materials, test them. If they are good enough, then we can have them decanted at our site. The processes that happen here is we produce porcelain towels. Like I said earlier, these are wall and floor towels.
On why we value some of these handcraft makers and why we value others more than maybe more established ones. It's because they're actually getting that chance to elevate them.
As time went on, we got more established. We proved ourselves to the makers and vendors. A lot of these guys started coming out of the woodwork, and I think now that we have established ourselves in the market.
This is the Saturday edition of Millennium Kwacha, your first and only business breakfast show. In fact, now it has become your favorite show. Let's just agree. This is your favorite show. We bring you the best of breakfast TV. My name is Paul Shingongo. Now, tomorrow we commemorate International Mother Tongue Day globally. The question that we keep having is, how well do you know your mother tongue? Do you speak your language at home? Today, you are sending your messages using your mother tongue. We're streaming live on Facebook, Millennium TV Zambia. Drop us a comment right there using your mother tongue. So we'll see how many you text. So our ardent followers, Moses Chimba, Grace, Ragnar, send those messages using your mother tongue today. Let's see how well you're conversant. In the studios, of course, I'm joined on set already by a language expert, Mr. Shadrack Kondala, who shares with us more on this subject. Welcome to Millennium Kwacha, sir.
Thank you very much, and good morning, viewers.
Awesome, awesome. Mwaka bwanji.
Bueno mwaka bwanji.
Mwashibukeni.
Yeah, mkwaye mwashibukeni.
So I'm trying to
Maukabuti.
Maukabuti. Maukabuti. What other language?
In the other language.
Oya gozaimasu. That's Japanese.
We can even do Chinese.
Oh, here.
Yes.
Great. Now, this, of course, people have so many mixed feelings when it comes to our mother tongue. First of all, as a language expert, tell us more about the International Mother Tongue Day that is coming up tomorrow.
All right. Thank you. The International Mother Tongue Day is the day that was declared by the UN to recognize the importance of indigenous languages or mother tongues. You know, the idea is that indigenous languages carry very important cultural heritage and also knowledge, and therefore everyone is entitled to speak their indigenous languages. Because if somebody is not speaking their indigenous languages, then somebody will be excluded. And by the way, languages die. So if there are no speakers, or due to globalization, you find that certain sections of speakers, they do not practice their languages. And as a result, the languages die out like that. So UN recognized that fact and said that it is important that every nation should endeavor to preserve and to promote these indigenous languages, because language is central in the development of the people, and also language is central in the creativity and also in inclusion, because you find that if you use a different language and then you force other people to access information using that language, you're excluding them, be it in education, in other socio-political factors and so on. Therefore, indigenous languages are crucial and should be promoted and preserved, and also, everyone should cherish them for fostering development.
What's the theme for this year's commemoration?
The theme for this year is indigenous languages fostering multilingualism for inclusion in education and society. Fostering multilingualism in inclusion in education and society. Now, multilingualism, the word multi implies many, and it implies diversity. So multilingualism implies that we should endeavor to use this multilingual context in fostering inclusion. And that's the key word, inclusion in education and in society. Therefore, we should teach the children the subjects in the language that they are familiar with, especially first year, not first year, especially early, childhood stage, primary stage. We use indigenous languages so that children will be able to learn easily and quickly.
Now, this theme that we're talking about, fostering multilingualism. Now, we are living in a global community. Someone would argue we're living in a global community. We have over 70 languages in Zambia alone. And if you start promoting indigenous languages, you go to Congo, they have I don't know how many local languages there. Won't we bring confusion in the global trend that we are moving into? If we know the official languages, what is the importance of knowing your indigenous language? Someone might argue, because we are moving in a global village now.
Oh, yes, that's true. For one thing, I can state that globalization has come, and there's nothing that we can do about it. We need to appreciate it and also see how we can maneuver. However, even if we're in the global situation, you notice that very few indigenous speakers are actually able to speak these global languages. Take Zambia, for example. You find that very few people are conversant with English or French or Chinese, and therefore the mother tongue, the language that the child is born with, the language that the mother speaks when the child is young, is actually essential. The moment we acknowledge that, we cannot depart or detach that language from the speaker. So even in the global world, we need to ensure that we still promote and also translate, interpret, certain crucial messages so that we include those other people in development and also in other facets of life. So it has been an excuse that since we have so many languages, so let us forget others. That is a very fault excuse, and we should avoid it. Because some people will say, no, we have so many languages and we do not have resources to develop them. Yes, we can agree that this is an official language, or these are official languages. We can agree. However, we should not let any language die, and we should not let anyone to be left behind. Everyone should be included in development. So when you go to Luapula, you find people who speak Ushi or Ngombo and so on. You go to Mchinga, you find Visa, and they have no idea of English.
But
yes.
That may not be a true reflection, because look at our education system countrywide. We use English as official language.
Now, there are many complications about that.
Yeah.
Even as we use English as an official language, you notice that administrators and policymakers have actually acknowledged the deficiency of using English. That's why in the current times, or in the recent past, you find that they have introduced things like NBTL, starting to teach children in the local language from grade 1 to 4 and so on. Because they notice that when you're using English, children do not actually learn. They more like memorize, and they do not actually appreciate what they are learning. Now, imagine if you teach a child mathematics using Bemba, Njanja, Tonga, Kikahondi, and so on, the child will pick it up. And one even goes to argue to say that there's been, we've lagged in development, especially in technology. We cannot adequately make toothpicks, and so we have those criticisms. And those are attached to the idea that we concentrate too much on memorization, rote learning, because the education system as it is now does not actually develop the creativity and innovation in the learners. So, by the way, in 1964, after Zambia gained independence, Mwanakatwe, the then Minister of Education, acknowledged the importance of using indigenous languages. But the limitation there is that we're a new country, we need one Zambia, one nation to unite people, and therefore we have so many languages, 72 they say that at the moment, though from the professional point of view, we just have about 26, 26 linguistically speaking. So now, we shouldn't.
What of the others?
Actually, the others in linguistics, there's a distinction between language and dialect. So if you can talk to somebody, for example, a Bemba, or not a Bemba, actually language does not equate to ethnic background. So you find that you speak Bemba, but you can converse, you can have a conversation with a Namba speaker. You are speaking in Bemba, and somebody in Namba is also speaking from the beginning until the end of the conversation, and you're able to actually get each other. So those two languages, or dialects, since there's mutual intelligibility, you can understand each other, are categorized as dialects of the same language. So ethnicity, ethnic groups, quite all right, we can have 72. But in terms of languages, we have about 26. Now the challenge that we see is that out of those 26, only 7 are used as regional official languages. And they are not official in the strict sense of the term, but they're just regional as a matter of understanding to say we use these for transactions and
that's Bemba, Chewa.
Yes, Big Clint. Yeah, so Bemba, Kaonde, Lunda, Lozi, Luvale, Janja Tonga. But you notice that Tumbuka, for example, is very different from any of these languages. Namwanga is very different from any of these languages. So the moment we are not including those languages which are quite diverse or unique in their own linguistic makeup, then we're excluding those speakers. You see that? In education, in politics, and in other facets.
Awesome. You're watching Millennium Kwacha, your first and only business breakfast show. Today we're discussing promoting linguistic diversity. Tomorrow we commemorate International Mother Tongue Day. We want to find out how well do you know your mother tongue. Can you speak your mother tongue? Let's find out. Send us a message in your mother tongue. Today we're streaming live on Facebook, Millennium TV Zambia, as well as YouTube. Drop us a comment. You can also call us on 0975740518. We are in the studios with Mr. Shadrack Kondala, a language expert, a lecturer also at the University of Zambia. Yes, teaching Zambian languages and literature, as well as a researcher. Now, I understand, Mr. Shadrack, that there was a time then, Mr. Winter Kabimba, when he was in government, promoted the use of local language as to be used as the language in schools. I don't know how far we've gone with that.
Oh yes, I think the use of language in schools, I need to be updated by the people in the school of education to see the recent trends. But there's been an attempt to say, let us use languages from grade 1 to 4. But you notice that in metropolitan cities, the argument again is that in cities like Lusaka, Ndola, Kitwe, Livingston, you find parents right from the start, they start teaching children English. You see that? So at that point, you notice that English also becomes as a mother tongue to those children, our children that we're having now. So that's the complexity that we have. And as a result, most of these children, some of them, they go to private schools, and private schools are quite hesitant actually to include Nyanja or Bemba, Kaonde, ABCD into their education menu. So that's a challenge. But I think the Ministry of Education indicated to say every school must actually make sure that they teach Zambian languages.
I would want us to delve more on the commemoration we are having tomorrow and some of the activities that will be happening. I know most of them are virtual because of the COVID-19, but we'll get into details on that. We'll go on a short break. Don't forget you're watching Millennium Kwacha. Get interactive with us. We're streaming live on Facebook, Millennium TV Zambia. Drop us a comment. How well do you know your mother tongue? Drop us a message. Our ardent followers are waiting for messages. Rogna, Grace Kasonde, Moses Sichimba. Let the messages come. We'll also read some of your messages after this break. For now, it's a break. We'll be back shortly.
Chikumbuso started way back in 2005. It started with 7 widows. With those 7 widows, they had those children in their homes. The families never liked them because they are HIV and AIDS, you know. So now because they are back in life again now, so they have mended their homes.
We've got a laboratory. They take samples of the materials, test them. If they are good enough, then we can have them decanted at our site. The processes that happen here is we produce porcelain towels. Like I said earlier, these are wall and floor towels.
On why we value some of these handcraft makers and why we value others more than maybe more established ones. It's because they're actually getting that chance to elevate them.
As time went on, we got more established. We proved ourselves to the makers and vendors. A lot of these guys started coming out of the woodwork, and I think now that we have established ourselves in the market,
mafingerings tikaleta kuti kule ifike pa 500 gram or 450 gram even pa 400 flat gram nshia kule mngapeleke pa market.
When we are at school, we learn a lot of things. Let's say, for example, for the diseases which are there in the poultry. So for someone like me who has gone to school, it's easy for me to know if at all there are any diseases in the poultry.
Hello and welcome to Zoom in Africa, where we'll bring you the continent's biggest stories in current affairs. We'll also bring you the headlines, main news stories, expert analyses, and interviews. Right here on Millennium TV.
We're streaming live from Longacres, our studios right here in Lusaka. This is Millennium Kwacha, your first and only business breakfast show with me, Paul Shingongo. We're discussing promoting linguistic diversity. Tomorrow, we commemorate International Mother Tongue Day. How well do you know your mother tongue? Or you're just an English person, everything is English. Even when visitors come, it's English. We're discussing with Mr. Shadrack Kondala, a language expert, a lecturer, as well as a researcher. Now, before we went on a break, you're discussing something very, very important. But for now, I want us to focus on the International Mother Tongue Day coming up tomorrow. What are some of the activities that are taking place?
All right. When it comes to the International Mother Language Day that we are observing tomorrow, the activities outlined, most of them are just via media, Zoom and so on. Because traditionally, what we do, we tend to hold a march past. For example, from maybe Mandayi and then to Unza, we are marching with the brass band and so on. But because of today's restrictions, we just have a virtual, observation and celebration of mother tongue. So papers will be presented, and poetry and so on will be presented, but most of it will be via Zoom or WhatsApp or streaming and so on.
Awesome, awesome. How can the Zambians participate?
So our Zambians can participate. Those who will be able to actually access our website, they will see there will be something that will post there and so on. And others that will be able to connect to media through like Millennium TV, ZNBC and radio stations, they can listen or tune in and listen to the programs that will be there. Yes, and most importantly, let us speak our Zambian languages. I'm very happy that Millennium TV are doing that, encouraging viewers to actually send messages and speak Zambian languages, because the moment you're doing that, then you're also observing the International Mother Language Day, because it's a personal thing. And in as much as we learn second languages, initially we are what defines us are the indigenous languages that we use, as individuals.
Others have argued that some words in our languages, some English words, we cannot translate them directly in. For example, how do you say trigonometry in Bemba?
Those scientific terms, actually, those scientific terms, all languages are dynamic, and the most important thing is that when it comes to scientific terms, we can borrow. And you notice that even...
We can borrow?
Yes, we just borrow and open the vowels. For example, computer, you don't say something, because it will be a long statement. So to
simplify, but how do you say computer in any local language? Okay, let's Bemba, Nyanja.
The challenge is that in local languages, we haven't actually developed the Zambian languages. That's why you're saying we need to promote these Zambian languages in terms of terminology, lexicography, and so on. We promote even dictionaries. Now, we have lagged behind in that respect. So the challenge with computers, because you find that these screens, they have a certain similar word. A computer, a desktop, or a laptop, as long as there's a screen, you'll find somebody who translates in Bemba, will say chtunch. And it's not specific.
Chtunch.
Yes, it will not be specific. And to avoid that, it's important just to borrow. Because when you borrow, you leave out the idea of not being specific. Yes. So just open the vowels, you just say computer.
Awesome, awesome. We have some messages coming through on our... Yes, before I cut you.
Oh, yes, thank you. On the issue of language, there's just a lot to talk about. Like you said, there are certain things that you can't say even in French, or even in English or in Chinese, which are just specific, like with Luvade, for example, or Bemba and so on. Like, for example, in Bemba, how do you say Oktovela in English? How do you translate that? Or Shinka, for example. So it becomes so those translations. So even as if you're writing something, you want to express yourself, and then you notice that there is no direct equivalent.
Yeah, true.
And then you avoid expressing your thought. That's why you're saying these languages, we need to appreciate them the way they are. And so
True. If you know how to say Okushinka in English, tell us, how do you say, or Oktovela in English, how do you say it? I think that's very, very, very important. Want to hear your views. Yeah, truly, I agree with you. Someone said, Kutiakula nsima. How do you say in English? At Apamajin Tiakula nsima.
That's very interesting. Just imagine, even in Sima itself, for example, that's why we just said in Sima, even in English, I want to eat in Shim or in Shim. Because the translation of thick porridge was not just correct. So just no, that's just adopt. And after all languages grow by borrowing.
We grow by borrowing.
Quinine all those words coming from different, sections and linguistic backgrounds.
Awesome, awesome. A few messages coming through on our Facebook platform. Keep them coming. We're streaming live on Millennium TV Zambia. Now, Lucky Mwewa Chama. Thank you so much, Lucky, for coming through. He says, good morning, watching from Lusaka. Thank you so much, Lucky. Jimmy Tembo, muri bwanji wa Paulo, tiri bwino. Nanga Constance, ariku tirelo. Yeah, like we mentioned yesterday, Constance is not feeling well. That's why she's not on set. But Monday, surely she'll be back with full energy. Yes. Ragnar Rio Richard. He says, hello, enjoying the show. Muriuli, Muritiani. Ya Paulo, titamba, pakanema, kuno kumtendere East. Awe, melenyamu, vuchitika, pawe memweo. Thank you so much, Mr. Richard, for always coming through on Millennium Kwacha. Keep the messages coming on Mia Valerian Mumba, Mwaukatiani. What language is that? Chewa?
That's Nsenga.
Nsenga. In Chewa?
In Chewa.
You don't teach Zambian languages, so I'm supposed to know.
In Chewa, it should be something like Mazuka Bwanji or Mauka Bwanji.
Maukatiani is Nsenga.
But Tiani is Nsenga.
Is Nyanja a tribe?
No. Nyanja actually is it's just a language that came as a result of Chewa and the combination of other words. That's why you notice that even when you're using it at school, calling it Nyanja, but the school what they learn is actually Chewa.
Yes,
That's why a lot of people feel Nyanja in Lusaka as a subject because it's Chewa that is taught.
It's Chewa that is taught.
So Nyanja is it's just a language that used in Lusaka, and it has extended even to other.
I know I may have so much to ask you on this subject, but now, how well would you advise, you are a language expert, how well would you advise the citizens, the global citizens now? For example, I have colleagues even right here at Millennium TV that maybe studied in Russia. They had to study the Russian language first of all before they began their studies. But when they came back here, I don't know what use that language is. Won't we really be promoting confusion? You go to China, first of all, you have to study the Chinese language for a few months or a year before you begin your official studies. You go to Portugal, first of all, won't we be confused? Let's just have official languages. For example, if it's English, French, maybe Spanish, a few. What's your take as an expert on this?
My take is that linguistic diversity should be promoted. So even when somebody goes to Russia, by the way, language is equated to culture. You see that? That's why you notice that it's not enough just to learn the language on its own, because it's connected to culture. So if you're going to
language is connected to culture, yeah, that's very important.
So if you're going to study in China, the moment you're studying that language, you're also studying the culture of the people. You see that? So you cannot divorce these two. They are linked. And it's important that our friends and family who are going out there to study, it's important that we promote them and we actually learn something from them. And by the way, it's a global web. And as a result, we can actually use the colleagues who studied in Russia to tell us something about Russian culture and literature and so on and so on. Because in essence, every language has a composition of certain knowledges. You see that? So when somebody studies there, they will teach us something also. Because every language, every culture is embedded or is full of certain knowledge and cultural heritage. So we can learn from each other.
What language do you use in your house?
In my house, we use Nyanja, we use Bemba, we use English, a bit of Tonga, and a bit of Chinese.
Too many. Chinese, how, why?
You know, Chinese, for example, this is a Chinese phone Huawei. So, by the way, I like Chinese. I also did beginner's Chinese in 2011.
Oh.
So, I try to, once in a while, practice it, because if I don't, I'll forget. So my children who are about 4 and 6, they also learning a few words like ni hao and so on. Yeah.
Ni hao?
Yes, ni hao.
Ni hao.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shatter, for coming through to Millennium Kwacha. Hoping to have you again.
Thank you very much, Paul, and thank you very much, viewers.
Awesome, awesome. We're discussing promoting linguistic diversity with Mr. Shadrack Kondala, a language expert, lecturer, and researcher. We want to hear how well you know your mother tongue. So keep the messages coming. Using your mother tongue, don't use English today. Today, English is prohibited. So much lined up on Millennium Kwacha. We'll go on a short break. I'll be right back on the other side.
Mafingerings tikaleta kuti kule ifike pa 500 gram or 450 gram even pa 400 flat gram mshia kule mngapeleke pa market.
When we are at school, we learn a lot of things. Let's say, for example, for the diseases which are there in the poultry. So for someone like me who has gone to school, it's easy for me to know if at all there are any diseases in the poultry.
I'm here at my shop. HB1. I'm advertising my business.
Vitu vyote vikali viko hapa, vinapatikana hapa. Kiba Fashion. Ukija Komesa ulizia Kiba Fashion unampata Komesa.
Bintu batu munon bochi pamaningi. Mosayope atia just because Komesa even the shop itself is not all that whereby somebody can be scared. No, bintu vya affordable muno. Mwima dresses, mwima sketi. Paima minimo, paima longu, paima dresses, paima jumpsuits, paima babies, the other side.
We are found in Komesa Market, opposite Komesa Police Post. This is Kiba Fashions wear. Come through, come on.
You are watching Millennium TV. We mean business.
I'm here at my shop.
It's a Saturday edition of Millennium Kwacha, your first and only business breakfast show. Right here we bring you the best of breakfast TV with Paul Shingongo. Of course, with Constance Namunga, who's with me today, but she'll join us on Monday. Keep wishing her well. She's not feeling too well. Later on this hour from 8 to 9, so much coming up. We have a guest artist that will be coming through in the studios very soon. You will love the songs that he does. You've danced to the songs before. You know him very well. He's a household name. He'll be with us shortly. We also have another man in the studios that you will love to hear him talk. So do yourself justice by staying glued to Millennium Kwacha. We're streaming live on Facebook, Millennium TV Zambia. Our question we have for you today is, how well do you know your mother tongue? Tomorrow we are commemorating International Mother Tongue Day. So send your messages for today using your mother tongue. Type in Lozi, type in Chewa, type in Nsenga, like the way Mr. Rogner Richard did. So keep them coming. For now, let's get to know what's happening. For the news updates, the headlines: Zambia to have a fourth mobile service provider, and the ERB urged to secure food shortage. International news: Algeria frees dozens of activists following presidential pardons. And now the local news in detail. Zambia is set to have a fourth mobile service provider. This is after the Zambia Information and Communications Technology Authority, ZICTA, awarded a mobile license to Beeline Telecoms Limited yesterday. Beeline Telecom Limited is a wholly Zambian-owned company. The awarding of the mobile license to Beeline Telecoms Limited follows the cancellation of a license which was awarded to Uzi Zambia on September 4th, 2018. However, Uzi Zambia failed to commence operations within the stipulated period of 6 months. Consequently, ZICTA cancelled the license in March 2019. And ZICTA Director General Patrick Mutimushi says Beeline Telecoms Limited will be required to commence operations within 6 months, failure to which the license will be revoked. Mr. Mutimushi says the decision by the authority to introduce a fourth mobile operator was arrived at from the perspective of, among others, the quality of services being provided by the incumbent licensees, as well as to raise the levels of competition. Once operations begin, Beeline Zambia will join Zamtel, Airtel, and MTN as a mobile service provider. Now, moving on, local news. An energy engineer has urged the Energy Regulation Board, ERB, to ensure there is no smuggling of fuel to neighboring countries. Johnson Chikwanda notes that the national fuel stock level has significantly improved and continues to increase, hence the need for ERB to also tighten up energy security in the country. Mr. Chikwanda says the increase in the flow of fuel is as a result of government's interventions, such as the removal of customs duty at 25%, VAT at 16%, and excise duty on diesel, while on petrol, the excise duty has been reduced. He said that it is for this reason that some unscrupulous companies or individuals might take advantage of the situation and start illegally exporting the commodity to other countries. Mr. Chikwanda said this shouldn't be allowed, as the country might experience another serious fuel shortage in the future. Now, government has created a unit to enforce compliance of Statutory Instrument SI number 7 of 2008 that makes it mandatory for all transporters of heavy and bulk cargo to transport a minimum of 30% by rail transport. Ministry of Transport and Communications Permanent Secretary Mishek Lungu said the unit would effect penalties on companies that fail to comply. He said the SI was meant to create an opportunity for rail companies to have more business. Mr. Lungu said the SI will enable both private operators and Tazara have enough cargo to transport through rail, and would also help preserve road infrastructure and heavy cargo. Now, in foreign news, Algeria on Friday released a dozen Iraq protest movement activists from jail, the first batch freed under presidential pardon issued ahead of the second anniversary of a popular uprising. A day after Algerian President Tebboune dissolved the lower house of parliament and called early legislative elections, the National Committee for the Liberation of Prisoners, CNLD, a rights group, on Friday announced the release of dozens of prisoners in a gesture of appeasement to the Iraq protest movement. The Iraq, meaning movement in Arabic, swept former strongman from power in 2019 but continued after his fall. Around 70 people are currently in prison over their links with the Iraq movement or other peaceful opposition political activity, according to the CNLD. Many of them were arrested for posting anti-government posts on social media. The presidency said the pardon would cover perpetrators of crimes related to information and communication technology. Now, the American Space Agency is expected to release new photos for its Perseverance rover shortly. There was a huge excitement at NASA when its 1-ton robot touched down in Maris Jezero crater on Thursday. Satellites have since been flying over the $2.7 billion vehicle to pull off data to relay back to Earth. Among all this information should be further views from the rover of its surrounding and some pictures it took during the descent to the surface. Perseverance is sitting almost bang in the middle of its targeted landing zone, about 2 kilometers to the southeast of what remains of an ancient river delta that formed at the edge of a lake. Engineers were delighted to see that hazard avoidance systems had steered the rover away from tricky terrain in the last moments before wheels down. Surface must also now be exchanged for a software system that enables the robot to drive across the surface. But it's going to be the pictures that will enthrall the public. Don't forget, this is Millennium Kwacha. We'll go on a short break, get back, move straight into the sports updates, money markets, and the weather. Stay glued to Millennium Kwacha. Welcome back. We continue with the news updates, beginning with the sports. Now, second place, Zanaco have a chance to reclaim top spot in the first Super Division as they visit Indeni Ndola later in the afternoon today. Zanaco and Indeni are meeting for the first match of the second round at Indeni Sports Complex. The Bankers have 29 points, 2 behind leaders Zesco United after 17 matches played. Zesco displaced Zanaco from the top of the table after edging Power Dynamos in the midweek rescheduled match at home in Ndola. 14th placed Indeni want to avoid dropping into the bottom 4 when tackling Zanaco. Indeni sit on 18 points together with 15th placed NAPSA, with only a goal difference separating the two teams. Zanaco beat Indeni 2-0 in the first round fixture played in Lusaka last October. Now, in international sports, Patrick Bamford felt Leeds were robbed of a point after the striker had an equalizing goal ruled out on Friday. 1-0 defeat at Wolverhampton Wanderers. The hosts took the lead just after the hour when Adama Traore hit a thunderous effort from distance against the crossbar, but the ball rebounded the back of Ilan Messler's head into the Leeds goal. Bamford thought he had snatched an equalizer late on as he had powered through an on goal before finishing brilliantly, but was flagged offside with the video assistant referee agreeing it was a correct decision. Bamford had a goal choked off by the VAR in a 4-1 defeat against Crystal Palace in November, having been ruled offside after raising his arm to point where he wanted a pass playing to, and the 27-year-old was once again aggrieved by decision made by technology. Now, Daniel Medvedev has another opportunity to land a first Grand Slam title after beating Stenafos Tsitsipas to reach the Australian Open final. The informed Russian won 6-4, 6-2, 7-5 against Greek 5th seed, securing his 20th victory in a row. 4th seed Medvedev, 25, who contests his second major final when he meets Novak Djokovic on Sunday after losing the 2019 US Open final. Medvedev again aims to become Russia's first male major champion since 2005. On his way stands top seed Djokovic, who is bidding for a record-extending 9th men's title at Melbourne Park. Medvedev has won 3 of their past 4 meetings, but facing the 33-year-old Serb in the Australian Open final, in which he has a 100% winning record, should be a different preposition. That's it for sports news. We move straight into money markets for today, Saturday, 20th February 2021. The Zambian Kwacha was trading at 21.62 against the US dollar, 30.35 against the British pound, 26.25 against the euro, and 1.47 against the South African rand as of Friday, February 19th. The South African rand traded slightly lower at 14.7 against the greenback on Friday amid caution as investors' focus shifted to the budget speech scheduled for next week. South African Finance Minister Tito Mboweni will deliver the country's 2021 budget on Wednesday, with the country facing ever-increasing fiscal pressures in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, the British pound crossed the 1.40 level for the first time since April 2018, amid hopes that the UK would ease lockdowns sooner than expected due to the fast deployment of COVID-19 vaccines. The euro bounced back above the 1.21 mark, moving closer to Tuesday's 3-week high of 1.217. The ECB policy meeting minutes showed officials agreed that headlines inflation was at a very low level and that it continued to be a distance from the central bank's target, while a further appreciation of the euro posed risk to the inflation outlook. Finally, let's get to know what's happening in weather. Today we begin with the capital city, Lusaka. Lusaka will experience a thick cloud cover and humid with some thunderstorms. Temperature currently stands at 23 degrees Celsius, but expected to climb to 25 degrees in the afternoon and drop to 21 degrees Celsius in the evening. Ndola will be humid with considerable cloudiness, while the separated afternoon thunderstorms. Temperature there currently stands at 25 degrees Celsius, but expected to climb to 26 in the afternoon and drop to 20 degrees Celsius in the evening. In the east, Chipata will experience widely separated thunderstorms, overcast in the morning, then clouds and sunshine in the afternoon. Temperature currently stands at 28 degrees Celsius and expected to maintain the same temperature in the afternoon, but drop to 21 in the evening. Finally, our tourist capital, Livingstone, will experience periods of rain and thunderstorms in the morning, considerable cloudiness. So carry an umbrella if you're in the tourist capital. Temperature currently stands at 25 degrees Celsius, but expected to climb to 28 in the afternoon, but drop to 20 degrees Celsius in the evening. That's it for the news updates at 8. You're watching Millennium Kwacha, your first and only business breakfast show. Go on a break. When we get back, we discuss social media marketing with someone they call Tycoon. We'll be back shortly.
I'm here at my shop. HB1. I'm advertising my business.
Vitu vyote vikali viko hapa, vinapatikana hapa. Kiba Fashion. Ukija Komesa ulizia Kiba Fashion unampata Komesa.
Bintu batu muno nbochipa maningi. Mosayope ati just because Komesa even the shop itself is not all that whereby somebody can be scared. No, bintu vili affordable muno. Mwima dresses, mwima sketi, paima minimo, paima longu, palima dresses, paima jumpsuit, paima babies the other side.
We are found in Komesa Market, opposite Komesa Police Post. This is Kiba Fashions where come through, come on.
You are watching Millennium TV. We mean business.
I'm here at my shop. HB1. I'm advertising my business.
Vitu vyote vikali viko hapa, vinapatikana hapa. Kiba Fashion. Ukija Komesa ulizia Kiba Fashion unampata Komesa.
Bintu batu muno nbochipa maningi.
Hello and welcome to Zoom in Africa, where we'll bring you the continent's biggest stories in current affairs. We'll also bring you the headlines, main news stories, expert analyses, and interviews.
This is Saturday edition of Millennium Kwacha, your first and only business breakfast show in the country, with me, Paul Shingongo. Now, Saturday, we try to make it exciting. Yeah. We have someone on set. We're discussing social media marketing, how best to market using social media. And there's someone that is ever on Facebook, people say. He comments on every page. I'm sure you're beginning to have an idea who the person is. Every page, you will see him. He just came out of the blues. Every comment you see on the page, his comment is there. I don't know where he gets the time. I want to find out where he gets the time. But yes, we're talking about Paul Chela. His name is Paul Chela. But on Facebook, we know him as Paul Zambia. Welcome to Millennium Kwacha, Mr. Chela.
Thank you so very much for having me. I'm really humbled.
Awesome, awesome. Paul Zambia.
Paul Zambia.
Awesome. Now, you comment, personally, when I started seeing your comments, I was like, who's this man? Every time. He has a comment. He has an opinion on every matter.
Okay, yeah.
Is that so?
Well,
or it is just a technique?
Well, you know, what I have found out about life is stay updated and always do your research. Because, you know, there are many things happening in the country and you can't get hold of everything, but at least get to 90% of what is happening. So most people say, each and every post you have something to say. It's because I research and each and every post I know what people are talking about, and I feel like I'm always 4 steps ahead of time. So I'm a time calculator. and I found out to say that the best time to really understand what social media is all about is staying updated and doing your research very well and making sure that you are always ahead of time.
Awesome. Now, you are a media consultant. I know you've worked for Movie TV before and QTV. What were you doing there?
Basically, my direction of my career is marketing. So what is actually, when I was with Movie TV, I was the marketing there. And then QFM and QTV, I was the marketing again. So pretty much you're going to find out to say that it's all about each and every organization that I join in. My strongest field is marketing, and it's quite interesting how marketing is one of the most feared
true.
So professions. But it's quite interesting just to be a human calculator, because what happens to me is that when I get into a meeting with someone, when I just look at them, I actually know how much budget they can afford. I already know the size of the company just by looking at a human. Even before I see the company size and what they're dealing with. I just look at them when they come for the meeting, and I look at the company size, I analyze, and I know how much budget they're able to spend on advertising, and I don't usually, miss. So it's with that comes with, wow, I do what I do with passion, and it's something that doesn't take me much time. Within 2 minutes, I would have closed up a meeting.
Awesome. Now I understand you're working with Power TV, Power FM. What are you doing there? Still marketing?
Still marketing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Great. But you carry some brands. You have a strong brand. You've built your brand. You launched a website not too long ago.
Yes.
www.postzambia.com. Yes. You promote music as well, I understand.
Yes.
Where did that passion come from?
Well, looking back in the days where musicians and artists had less access to radio and TV. And by then, I think I was doing my last training with Unza Radio. So what actually happened was I tapped into the passion because at an early stage, I became a producer, a music producer, along with my friend HBC Zambia. So basically what happens is he was the producer before me, so I started tapping into it, and we had a lot of artists coming through just to have a glimpse of our production. So then I was like, how do we create a loophole? Like, how do we connect these same artists to the radio? How do we make sure that also, they get to be heard besides just production? So that's where it all came from. And I remember by then I was staying in Kablonga, and I started putting artists on radio, but then it was not enough. What I always wanted was to create a change in the way music is done, a change in how things really are done. And that's why with the template, ever since I launched the website, with what I explained on the website, we've seen a whole lot of brands come about. We've seen the likes of Karandanya Music Promotions doing pretty much the same I preached in my interview when I was doing it with Power FM. We've seen also the likes of Nexa. So pretty much it's the same template. So I feel that in as much as we're trying to get there, I share ideas that are workable in real life, and most people have tapped into the ideas, though they would not come and say, we tapped into your idea, but we pretty much look at things from a perspective where this is the template and the direction which they have followed. So the passion came just because I wanted to help as many artists as possible to get on the limelight.
What type of brands have you promoted so far? I know you've worked with people like Your Maps.
Yes.
What type of brands have you worked with, artists that you've worked with?
Well, I remember when I was starting to promote, I worked with brands like Your Maps, bringing Your Maps on the set, with HD Empire, the likes of the 40 Empire, and quite a number of them, especially in the new school academy. So it's been quite time of experience, looking at how every brand has flourished with time. And I'm also still working with many different brands, trying to give them as much as music is concerned. We try to put them on the limelight here and there. So Quite a number of them. Those who are patient are able to stick around. You know, what I hate about artists is they're impatient. Because when you are managing the music, you are the one who knows which platforms, what time it is, and which audience. So you tell them, okay, wait, let me reposition you. So most of them who are patient, it works out for them.
Okay,
Sure.
awesome. Now, what is the role? You've branded yourself very well, I must say. Of course, there will be a few others that will be maybe irritated by your comments every page. I don't know. Yes, every time they see Paul Zambia, like, these guys. Don't you think that also is bad for marketing?
Well, marketing is all about leveraging the industry, okay? If you can't be on top, then stop. That's the whole thing in marketing. So if you can't be the top man, then you're doing nothing. Because what actually happens is that to be the highest ticket closing sale marketer, you have to be on top of your game. So basically what happens is, if you can't leverage the industry, if you can't put your name on the map, then what you're actually doing is just flying along with the others. But that's not really my way of doing things. I love flying on top of everything. I love to be the leader. And because the reason is very simple. It's because even if I'm leading, I'm also giving other marketers hints on how to get there. So that when they're getting there, I would have already moved 10 steps up. But I love pulling the crowd and just making sure that everything moves. And for the fact that the brand has come up, the reason why I decided to put the brand on the limelight is because, I've met a lot of artists who are really up there, and I've worked with a whole lot of different companies. But what you're going to find in Zambia is that an artist will be giving shout-outs to different people, and leaving you, but you're the anchor of everything. And then that surprises me. So I'll be like, okay, fine. Here is how we're going to do. Your manager is also going on top. He's going to make himself, because he makes you, so he can't fail to make himself. So what I did was I had to prove to them to say, I'm the giant killer here. You know what I mean? Like, I make you so I can make myself. You can't make me. I can make you. I can make myself as well. But since you can't make me, I'm the king. So I'll know how to do away with, soldiers in the castle. So basically that's what happens is I deliberately had to put a brand on the limelight, because I've realized that in Zambia, people don't give recognition. People will just watch. You might do a whole lot of things, but people will really forget your name and just bury it in the sand. So I think it's about time we learned how to appreciate people who are doing good in life and who are also helping others. For me, I feel like ever since I started the marketing industry and also trying to put people there, I feel like I've been more about other people than myself. But every time I make people go there, they don't come back for me. So they don't give back the hand and say, hey, Paul Zambia, here is a hand. Let me pull you off and put you on another ladder. We have seen many artists who we've made who are driving. But they would drive and bypass you who was helping them get there and be like, Paul Zambia, he did a lot. They would explain to friends, but what has that benefited me? That's the whole...
I thought you'd charge them for that, so they've already paid you, so they don't owe you anything now.
Trust me, it's what I actually do is, do I even charge? I don't. What I do is make people invest in their music. You are going to be surprised as I tell you to say I've spent on more artists my own money trying to put them on board, in the sense that they don't understand how the industry works. Provided we say, okay, let's sit down and set a budget. And then he says, this is my budget. And I'm, okay, fine. This is what we're going to do within the budget. But again, remember that there are hidden costs. I need to move. I need to buy water. I need to create, an interview rapport. I need to make sure that we create maybe radio tour, so there's a whole lot of things involved, and you can't go back to the artist and say, guy, these things are not working out. So you leverage and use much of your connections and the money. So there's little money involved for a very huge, big cause. So we can't really match the outcome.
So why don't you just charge, so that you don't complain afterwards that they're not recognizing you?
Basically, trust me, no new artist on the scene has money. They can't pay you enough to push them. So what actually happens is they come and then they tell you the budget which they have, and then you say, okay, this is what I'm going to do, but this is also what I'm going to do for you to get there. What I've been always centered on is the principle of appreciation. If you know, remember in Jesus' time, there are those people that he healed and they went back. Only one person came to say, thank you so very much for what you've done. And most people have gone for good and have been watching from a distance and be like, wow, does he even remember I exist? So deliberately I had to put a brand on the limelight because, you know, no man is an island. But Posi Zambia could be an island.
Now, I understand some people use social media in a wrong way. You are using social media well, you branded yourself well. What is the importance of social media marketing and how best can people go about that?
Okay, you know, one thing is the perspective at which people look at social media differently matters differently to each and every individual.
True.
For me, when I look at Facebook, I'm more active on Facebook than all these other handles.
Okay.
What I actually discovered is, do you know that Facebook has been paying my rent ever since, I think for 2 years now. RSC Ron would testify to you that I haven't paid rent using my paycheck, you know, like my monthly pay. Social media has been paying my rents for 2 years. And
how? I want to understand how social media, how Facebook, how Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook
is able to pay
yes.
people's rents. Basically what happens on Facebook is that most people are there just to chat, check what's trending, and just, you know, insult people and get into terms with people. But when you know the reason why you are on social media, it begins with why are you on social media? So when you understand why you're on social media, it gives you a sense of leverage. Okay, what is it that I'm doing on social media? When you identify what you're doing. So for me, this is what I do. When I got on social media, I actually got in as just any other person. Then I realized that there was potential to communicate, to also make people understand who I am, what I do, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses. But basically on social media, we highlight much more of the strength. So what I actually did was, to survive on the social media, you have to have a brand that you're carrying. Then when you create a brand, create a service that you are giving to the people, or create a product that is going to appeal to the people. When you do that now, create marketing strategy. How do I get to the people? And then after that, when you create a strategy now, how do I make money? There are just 4 steps. They're very, very, very simple. How do I make money? The first question is, how do you make money off social media? Number 1, create your own brand. Number 2, create a service that you're going to give to the people. Number 3, highlight the strategies of marketing that you're going to put in place. Number 4, make money. That's social media for you. 4 things that you need to put into consideration if you're on social media. And we've seen that ever since we started tapping into social media, a lot of people have learned new ways of marketing, new ways of leveraging. And besides that, we've seen most of the brands come on board. We are talking about people market themselves differently. Look at Quantum Comedy, look at Kenny Dumbo, look at you know, IDC Light. All of these people have what they do on social media. So they're a brand, entertain brand. They entertain people, but behind the other side, these people are event MCs. They are booked by corporate companies. So they entirely live their lives on social media. And did you know that nobody beats how much people get on social media? Not even a government worker does that. You can't, unless you're a minister or something. Because do you know that a company can sign a deal with you when you have a following, when they realize that you can actually create leads for them? They sign you, they say, okay, we are going to give you a deal worth $25,000 per month, and then this is how much and how long you're going to help us with this and this and that. Social media works as also a placement. There is no difference between a billboard that you see on the street and the social media following that is always surrounding you, your brand. So most of the time, you find that Zambian companies have got DAO marketers in positions. And that's the reason why it has been very hard for social media to illuminate. Because number one thing you're going to see is that every company which knows what their brand is, what they need to marry themselves with, they know. For instance, let's take a look at Trade Kings. Trade Kings leverages each and every opportunity given to them because they understand that social media is a stronger, is a stronger platform that has given a whole lot of tension, a whole lot of, attention out there. Social media actually is even better than a billboard, if you ask me, because people are engaged in real time. When you post something, people are able to ask you, so where are you located? Have you ever seen someone asking a billboard where you're located? They will just look at it on the bus and they go.
They'll call the number on the billboard.
They might call the number on the billboard, but how many times have you been on a bus and you just look at the billboard and you continue with what you're doing? But if you like this brand, say Kenny Dumbo, you like him so much, and then he advertises something. You know Kenny Dumbo is a human being that you can reach to say, brother, how do you get to these people? You might not call the company, but he can also further explain how something works. So I feel the reason why social media has been looked down on is because we have down marketers in decision-making positions in many different companies.
Awesome.
So they don't usually see the opportunity where it is.
Great. We're watching Millennium Kwacha, your first and only business breakfast show, discussing social media marketing with someone they call a tycoon. I need to understand why they call you a tycoon. We are streaming live on Facebook, Millennium TV Zambia, as well as YouTube. You can also catch us on Channel 95 on the Top Star Decoder with Paul Chela, otherwise known on social media as Paul Zambia. I don't know why he hides the Chela. But we'll go on a short break. We'll discuss. The discussion continues shortly. Stay glued to Millennium Kwacha.
Chikumbuso started way back in 2005. It started with 7 widows. With those 7 widows, they had children in their homes. The families never liked them because they are HIV and AIDS, So now because they are back in life again now, so they have mended their homes.
We've got a laboratory. They take samples of the materials, test them. If they are good enough, then we can have them decanted at our site. The processes that happen here is we produce porcelain towels. Like I said earlier, these are wall and floor towels.
On why we value some of these handcraft makers and why we value others more than maybe more established ones. It's because they're actually getting that chance to elevate them.
We got more established, we proved ourselves to the makers and vendors. A lot of these guys started coming out of the woodwork, and I think now that we have established ourselves in the market.
Awesome. This is the Saturday edition of Millennium Kwacha, your first and only business breakfast show, coming to you live from our Long Acre studios right here in Lusaka with me, Paul Shingongo. Now we're discussing social media marketing and want us to interact with you, want you to interact with us. How best do you use your social media? The question we have for you, of course, today, generally our theme is promoting linguistic diversity. Do you know your mother tongue? Type your comments in your mother tongue this morning. But now, we were discussing already with Paul Chela, who was known on Facebook as Paul Zambia, the man that comments on every page, whether in Zambia. The thing also is that I saw your comment on one of the pages or one of the artists from America, and I was wondering, I was like, this man, he has crossed borders.
Imagine.
you are called the tycoon.
Oh yeah.
Why tycoon? Where did that come from?
Well, the tycoon or marketing machine came
Marketing
from,
machine.
Yes. Came from highest closing marketer. You know, actually, with time, with my career, what has actually happened is that they do an evaluation of trying to find out which station is selling much more than other stations, and I think I sold much more in a row for 6 months, only closing highest tickets amongst the radio stations and TV stations. So that's where my colleagues from work started calling me the tycoon, because I've gotten 2 medals for being
Great.
the highest closing
Awesome.
marketing.
Awesome.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so very much. So that's where the marketing tycoon came from. So I feel like I earned it. It just didn't come from without. And that's what they call me. My colleagues, that's what they call me at work. And it's been there for some time.
Awesome. Awesome. In case you have questions for Paul C. Zambia, drop the questions for him on the page. Just type. You can also type in English in case your mother tongue is not. Today we are promoting mother tongue. Tomorrow we are commemorating International Mother Tongue Day. So I want to encourage you to use the local language. But in case you can't type, please ask him why he's always on Facebook. Ask him. He's right here. He's going to answer your questions. Of course, we have quite a number of messages already on the page. The number you're calling us on also, or sending a WhatsApp message, is 0975 740518. Now, your website, I went through your website. What are some, for people that don't know, what are some of the things that you are doing on your website, services you're providing on your website?
Okay. On the website, we have the homepage, then we have the business outlook in the media, then the music. So the business outlook on the website is coming up shortly. I think this week we'll be uploading much data. I'll be doing most of the tutorials on how to do social media management, how to become a highest marketing closing skill, how to just put your skill set on board, and how to leverage the industry as well. So it will be more of giving tutorials to many people, upcoming marketers out there, and people who just want to leverage the industry. Maybe let's talk about brands. You want to create yourself and turn yourself into a brand like Mtale Mwanza, turn yourself into a brand like J. Tony, and all these people, and how to position yourself, how to discover yourself, and how to leverage through your talent and skill. What I've actually discovered is that in Zambia, there are no jobs. Look in the paper today, you're going to find that there are jobs which are saying 5 years experience. You just graduated, what are you going to do? So what I'm trying to do is that to create a diversion. We have to diversify as youths. We can't always chase for the jobs. There are no jobs, but how do we create our own ventures? So I'm trying to tutor people on how to become entrepreneurs in the new era, and also how to survive regardless the rising exchange rates, and how you can support your business and go from zero to hero. So this is what I'll be doing on the website. It will have a whole lot of things, but it will be more beneficial to entrepreneurs, because I also feel musicians and artists are entrepreneurs who are also part of the package. So that's why I haven't left them off board. So it's technically going to be based on those facts.
Great. I understand you do music promotion, you do radio and TV distribution. You've partnered with over 15 radio stations.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, it was not really an easy move, trying to go from radio to radio, discussing how we can promote the music. What I've actually understood in Zambia is, can you imagine if a person like me was the ZAM president? How many people can benefit on board? What I feel is the ZAM hasn't reached out to the artists themselves, because if you ask artists, they're going to tell you point blank to say, some of them don't even know who's the president.
Do I know?
Do you?
I think so.
You do? Because you're in the media, right? Okay. So this is technically what happens. We need people who are in ZAM to reach out to people, create all diversions of how to get most artists. Quite all right, you pay the affiliation of maybe say you register with ZAM at maybe they're charging say deliberately 500 kwacha, and then what do they do for you? What is in for you? Is it just them certifying your album or validating your song and we sit? Hell no. What we need to focus on is we need to start helping artists. Personally, I feel the money which was given to artists was really not really a good thing that they did. What they would have done as ZAM, they would have started with the association to say, instead of giving these guys my 300, my 400, can't we sit down and create something that is going to be long-lasting for musicians, especially new artists? Why would you give an established artist money? Why would you do that? Because they've built houses, they've made... people who need this help are people who are not there yet. And that's where we'll miss it in Zambia. Because basically, if you want to make more greater success, it begins from the ground root. So what they would have done is this. They would have put all the monies together that they gave to the artists, number one. Number two, they would have built a facility in Zambia. Per se, something which looks like Millennium TV. You've got all these offices. So we have people who are managing artists. We have studios. We have TV studios, video studios. And then we incorporate to say, in the northern province, we are going to put one, okay, at provincial level. So that most of these upcoming artists can find their way there. They can record for free. And those who are good, their talents are tapped. Go in Southern Province, you center another one, okay? So now people understand the value of how much you value the music, the art. But that hasn't been done. But why pump money in musicians who are already made? What for? I mean, is that working for Zambia? It's not. What we need to look into is tapping into the raw talent out down there. So I feel that was a sheer waste of money, number one. And I'm going to be honest with you that we could do better with taxpayers' money right now because we need it as Zambia. So what we were supposed to do is create on all provincial centers, we create base where these new artists will start out from. You understand? So that these artists can be signed, nurtured, branded, and then now thrown over. When that is achieved at the national level, now we start thinking of how do we sell these artists that we've created to the outside world. And now you start trying to engage different types of brands and artists trying to work with Zambian artists. Trust me, the dream is very far-fetched, but we need the mindset, the right mindset in there, in that seat. We need the right mindset almost in every seat.
Are you a member of the ZAM?
I'm not.
Why? You work with artists?
I work with artists, but I'm not a member of ZAM.
Why? You're not eligible to be a member?
Not really. Basically what happens is that I'm sure there are elections, right? So I've been trying to understand how it is done because I feel sooner or later we need to look at how we stand, because I feel if people can't take advice who are already sitting there, then we need to take their position and do the right for the needful for the artist, because we have
you attempted
talent.
to meet the ZAM president and give your recommendations?
Well, I would say that do you know one thing that I feel in Zambia is that when you stand and give someone an idea, they will get the part of the idea, go away with it, and then put you on the blacklist. And then when that idea ends, that you gave them, every project, everything ends there. Number one thing that you need to understand about life is that you can't take the dream from the dream carrier. But the best thing you can do for yourselves is to put the dream in the seat.
The dream carrier in the seat.
In the seat. And that's the only way that we can get there. And that's how it works.
Awesome. What are you doing exactly with these radio stations that you've partnered with, these TV stations that you've partnered? What exactly are you doing with them?
Okay, what I'm actually doing with the radio station and TV station that I've partnered with is our partnership stipulates that we distribute music about 10 songs in a week. So basically with artists that are on board and working with my websites, they get the radio distribution at a very cheaper cost. Per se, some of the artists would testify that the highest has been 300 kwacha. And we give you a platform of maybe 9 radio stations. And you're playing almost every day on that platform, which is something that you can't afford to pay for access at 300 kwacha. So I feel I'm giving a platform to these artists, regardless not having the financial bond or not being sponsored or not being funded. But I feel that I'm doing much more because even imagine in a 300 kwacha, you as an artist, you pay 300 kwacha. I understand you don't have money, but I only tell you to say, try to commit. When you commit to it and I say, okay, fine, this is what I'm going to do for you in the 300 that you've given me. I'll distribute your music to about 7 radio stations. I'll get about 3 interviews for you, and I'll get at least 1 TV interview for you. I mean, Do you know how much value I've just given back to the society? Through you. I've given value back to you, and you give back to the society. So I feel like this is not the time to play. And I feel like it's about time we got back to business and look at music as a business and look at artists as entrepreneurs.
Awesome, awesome. Keep the messages coming. We're discussing with Paul Chela, known on Facebook as Paul C. Zambia, on the power of social media marketing. Now we have messages coming through on the page. Keep them coming. In the few minutes that we have, Mayor Valerian Mumba said, Paul C. Zambia, everywhere you go. So it's like that's your tagline. Huh? Paul C. Zambia, everywhere you go. I think you should adopt that one. Jimmy Temple.
It's already taken. Unless the company itself adopts me, and then we use it together.
Jimmy Temple says, surprised he hasn't commented here first on the Millennium TV Zambia page.
My hands are tied.
It's tied, otherwise from here.
Who has tied my hands? Yes. I'm going to rain on you when I
Awesome, awesome. Sichimba Moses is saying, this guy is actually very intelligent. Wow.
Sichimba, thank you for being honest. I appreciate you. I salute you.
Deotetus Mwewa said, I'm impressed with Paul C. Zambia. He's such an intelligent entrepreneur. Thumbs up. Well, thumbs up.
I love honesty. Thank you so very much. Let's drive Zambia.
Mwanga, I see. After this interview, I think I've known this guy very well. Keep it up.
Thank you so very much. I wonder how you knew me before you knew me, because I'm sure you heard about me.
Awesome. DJ Medamanda, Mr. Lusaka, Paul C. Zambia is the best music promoter, just that people are copying his career and investing like KMP legendary Paul C. Zambia. I thought he would comment on this one. Today he can't comment, yeah, because he's here, but
I'm tired.
Surely, yes. But someone has raised a point. Say you are the best music promoter, just that people are copying your career and investing like...
The same thing I was telling you about giving ideas. And people would run a mile with your idea, but they can't run the whole world cross country with your ideas. So what actually happens in the industry is that you can give as many ideas to someone, but later they steal the ideas and kick you off. But when they run out on ideas, the train stops, and all the passengers in the train begin to scream, what's going on? Where are we going? What's happening? So what is actually happening is that, why can't you put the person who knows what the train is made up of, how to make it reach the destination, how to take it there, how to make people feel part and parcel of the train? So it's kind of crazy how things have evolved. I've given a whole lot of ideas to many, many people, and I've realized to say it's about time that I also claimed my place and stood up and just, go strong about everything and create the change that I want.
Awesome, awesome. As we conclude the program, the interview this morning, happy belated birthday.
Thank you
Your
so
birthday was
very
on
much.
which date again?
Saturday.
Saturday. Okay, great. We share the same month.
Oh yeah, it was on the 13th. When is yours coming?
12th February. So just follow each other.
I didn't know, man. You would have had a cake right here. Because those finished, but we are doing a new consignment. Because I want to celebrate my birthday in a different way, because Facebook fans celebrated me in a way that I've never, and I couldn't, and I never imagined. So what I want to do is that I want to pay back to Facebook by celebrating 6 months non-stop of my birthday. And each and every day, I'm giving 4 cakes.
Each day?
Every day. So what I'm doing is that I'm giving to 2 celebrities and 2 Facebook fans. That's how it is. So
where am I falling?
You're falling on my... where are you falling? My friend.
Awesome, but...
My friends don't get a full cake. They get a half-cut cake because they share.
But now, someone raised a question over those 36 cakes that you posted.
Yes.
Someone saying it's not true because there's no way you can receive 36 cakes, same design, same supplier from 36 different people. I'm sure he bought them himself.
Basically, let me recorrect the statement. On those 36 cakes, actually they were not 36. They were supposed to be 48 cakes. Okay? So now what we did was, we know Zambians. We were like, guys, you can't put the whole 46. People won't believe it. So let's just take down some of the cakes because people won't believe it. There were 48 cakes. So what happened was...
But the same packaging. And they're coming, if someone, Mr. Peter gives you a cake, Paul gives you a cake, Maria gives you a cake, how come they all are the same?
The same packaging. Yes. So this is what happens. Coincidentally, me and my team made, from my team alone, they celebrated me by making at least 20 cakes, which looked like pretty much of the same branding. And these cakes were not meant for me. They were meant to appreciate the people out there. Then another company came in on board and moved in, and we went like, what are you trying to achieve? And then they moved in, they brought 10 cakes. So pretty much what we are looking at is the whole consignment was not really presents from individuals. They were presents from corporate companies, about 3 corporate companies which had to put hands together and say, this is what it is. And when you know, when people work in that line, you have similarities in the way you deliver the brand on the market, or there's just a way, a test. So some of them were smaller, some of the boxes were bigger, some of them were medium. I think that's a difference that they never talked about. But I've never seen a box which is branded, unless we're talking about those corporate brands which are big.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah. Now, 2 last questions before I let you go, before we close today's edition of Millennium Kwacha. You've hosted successful shows, like the Bush Festivals, for example.
Yeah, the Bush.
Tell us about that. That's something that is huge. Congratulations on that. Tell us more about that.
The Bush Festival was one of a kind of a festival that came first in Zambia. And I partnered with people from South Africa, who single-handedly spotted me out of the social media. And I was like, we love your social media marketing. How can we best throw a Bush Festival in Zambia for the first time? So it was really fun. We had a heated swimming pool. We had a whole lot of performing arts like Mampi, Afunika, and the TNS from South Africa. And we had a whole lot of diverse DJs who came on board, and I felt like it was the biggest of a kind because it was a camping thing. You know, we camped for 3 days. Families camped there for 3 days, trying to enjoy life and just feel. So I feel that that was a huge breakout for me, and knowing that a bigger brand all the way from South Africa believed in me, trusted in me to organize, and we had put eyes almost on all the radio stations because we dealt with radios for when we were pushing it. And I feel like that was quite an experience, though I was really nervous from the beginning because that was the first huge of a kind. But I managed to really make it work, and at the end of it, it was a success, and we were happy at the end of the day and made a little bit of a fortune out of it.
Awesome,
so,
awesome.
Yeah, it was a success, and I'm proud to be part of.
Great. What should your fans look out for this year from you?
This year is hit on a different note. Last year was a really bad year for all of us, and I feel like 2021 is a year not only to reflect, but to work and to work as hard as we can. So what I want my fans to look up for is let's embrace one another, let's love, and let's let love lead. Most importantly, I'm going to really help a whole lot of entrepreneurs. So I'm giving free consultancy to people who want to set out as entrepreneurs. So for the first 6 months that I'm still celebrating my birthday and giving out cakes, I'm giving free...
Beginning today?
Yeah.
Okay. So the cakes are remaining here. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm doing free consultancy. If you want to start your business, even without money, we try to see how can you start a business without money or too much capital, or how do you even create a base on how you become independent as an entrepreneur. Because it's so surprising that people of our age, some of us, are still at their parents. Me, I left my parents' home at 16 years. Because dad had already died, and I was supposed to survive and leverage because mom and my sister. I'm the firstborn and the only man in the family, so you know the time it is. I need to be a man. So I became a man at a very early stage to make sure that my mom and my sisters were in safe place, and I keep a promise that my dad left with me to say that you are the anchor of the family, and once I'm gone, don't ever look the other way. Awesome. So I feel that we need to train as many youths as possible to be men. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
That's why most ladies are complaining out there. Say, at least be friends with Paul Zambia, you know? You can get some of those stands.
Awesome. My last question in 30 seconds. Are you married?
Not yet married.
Dating?
Well, it's complicated.
What do you mean it's complicated?
I was kidding, right?
What do you mean it's complicated?
Well, how can I put it in one word? I can say that I'm locating myself.
Yeah. Yourself. You're already a brand. You've located yourself. So what's wrong?
You know, actually, that's why the Bible says whoever finds a wife finds a good thing. They never said that it's going to be easy.
So you haven't found?
So still nurturing.
Still searching?
I can say that I'm seeing someone, but in the actual sense, we need to grow together like that.
I don't understand what you're saying.
I'm still kidding. Next question, come on.
He's trying to run away from this question.
I'm not running, I'm creating a marketing stunt on you.
Oh, please. That's where we have to end today's edition, by the way, of Millennium Kwacha. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you so very much for having me. I'm really humbled.
Awesome, awesome.
Thank you so much for all the people who are tuned in. This has been Paul Zambia, and this has been Paul
Shingongo. Namesakes. Awesome. This is where we have to end today's edition of Millennium Kwacha. Remember, this is your first and only business breakfast show. We had so much fun on the edition today. We discussed issues of linguistic. Tomorrow we're commemorating International Mother Tongue Day. How well do you know your mother tongue? So thank you so much for the messages that you sent in your mother tongue. We're glad. Yes, Mr. Rio Rogna sent in some messages. Moses Sichimba as well, and all others that sent messages. Thank you so much. We're back again on Monday at the same time from 7 to 9 hours from all of us and the entire production team, and of course from Paul Squared, Paul C. Zambia, and Paul Shingongo. It is bye-bye and see you next week Monday. Thank you so much, Mr.